just enjoy the ride, man. Like it only happens once. And there's so many times now where we're sitting in Bogota, Colombia on the PGA Americas tour. And I'm like, hey, man, you remember that time we were 14 and we did this at this AJGA? Like the memories are always there. And it's such a fun time. And like I said earlier, my parents were the parents that let me, go to dinner with friends after a round or have a putting contest with friends after a round or stay with other players like in a host hotel or host house with, big tournaments on the line. And I think those memories are what I remember more so than what I shot or how I played or what tournament I won.
Welcome to The Golf Parent, where golf's top minds share the secrets, strategies, and shortcuts to give your junior golfer the edge on and off the course. I'm your host, Ryan Addams, and today's conversation is with the best name in golf, Canon Claycomb. Canon's journey from multi-sport kid to college golf standout to chasing his dream now on the professional tour is packed with lessons for parents. We dig into early specialization, how to truly support your kid without adding pressure, and what it really takes to make the leap from junior golf to the next level. Stick around, this one is full of insights you won't want to miss. But before we get into it, I want to thank our friends at Tour Striker, the most awarded training aids in golf and trusted by tour pros, coaches, and serious players around the world. Whether it's their best-selling smart ball for better connection or their lineup of tools to improve your swing mechanics, Tour Striker has everything that you need to level up your game. And because you're part of the Golf Parent community, you get 15% off anything at tourstriker.com with the code GOLFPARENT. All caps, one word. Go check them out and give your junior golfer the tools the pros trust. And now, let's get into the episode. Canon Claycomb, by far the best name in sports I've ever heard, and the best name on this podcast so far. Thanks so much for joining the Golf Parent.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate that. Got some great parents that gave me that name, so shout out to them and excited to be on the show.
Well, let's definitely talk about that. But with a name like Canon, please tell me you played baseball and other sports growing up.
Yeah, I did. So I played baseball growing up. I was a catcher and a pitcher and broke my nose in Little League playing catcher. So I called it quits on baseball after that. But I played basketball in high school. My little brother's a great athlete, so we both played basketball and then also played a little tennis as well in high school. So I got to use the name pretty well throughout youth sports.
Every announcer's dream, let me tell you. Every time that you touched the ball and you did something well, that's it. You made their day.
Yeah, exactly.
So there seems to be a debate right now going on when it comes to just sports in general and junior golf, where there's kind of that debate between early specialization, like kind of going all in on just baseball or hockey or golf, or kind of just being as well-rounded as an athlete as possible and kind of finding your game. Where's your take on that, being so close to the junior golf space and going through collegiate and school athletics? What do you think is important to develop the ultimate golfer?
Yeah, I mean, I was a multi-sport guy, and so is my little brother, who he plays golf at the University of Louisville. So he's another good player in his own right. But we both played a lot of sports growing up, and I grew up in Kentucky, so basketball was kind of the main sport. Football was a big deal. A lot of guys played baseball, and golf wasn't even close to the top of the list. So I really got introduced to golf probably later than all of the other major sports. Luckily, my family was into it, and that's how I got into it. But I think, especially when you get to the high levels of junior golf, there's a pretty good mixture of guys that specialize from whenever they wanted to, say the age of 8. And then there's guys like me who played high school basketball until my senior year of high school. Like, I think, like for a long time when I was playing junior golf, I was like 1, 2 on the junior golf rankings, like up there at the top. And I probably at times played less golf than I played basketball in high school, which probably wasn't a good thing. But then, there was other guys that were at the top that only played golf, and that's what they did, and they were really good at it. So I think you can do it both ways. I think if I, when I have a kid, I will encourage them to play as many sports as they possibly can. And then I think if they choose golf, it's such a individualized sport that they're going to have that time in their lives to play, Little League baseball, upward basketball, probably hockey up in Canada, I would imagine. And I think you can draw on that experience. Like that made my love for golf stronger throughout junior golf. Was like if I played on a bad basketball team in high school, I would go home and I'd be like, well, this guy didn't do this and this guy didn't do that. And when I was at a golf tournament, I didn't play the way I wanted to. There was no like, well, my teammate didn't bail me out there, or, coach put in the wrong guy. It was like, that's on me and I have to learn how to live with it. And I think there's a really good distinction between when the line is like when you should probably start to specialize and when you shouldn't. But if it's a younger kid, myself included, like play as many sports as you can, and then golf will always be there.
Hmm. Yeah, it certainly seems to be what the consensus is, give me an athlete from a coach's point of view and I'll turn him into a golfer, or I'll turn him into a basketball player or anything. But understanding the kind of core movement basics and having a kid that's coordinated and has body awareness is the most important thing. It seems like you're a living testament to that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, like junior golf is getting incredibly different even from when I played 10 years ago. Like
How so?
I go out now at the golf course and there's junior golf camps with kids that are 4 to 6. And like, if that should be their playing golf, that should be their learning the basics of how to grip a club, how to hold it, how to swing it, to make sure nobody's around when you're swinging, that kind of stuff. And then like you said, if you give me an athlete like and they already have the ability to swing at 115 to 123 miles an hour, like I can teach them how to hit it straight, or someone with a better understanding of the game can teach them to hit it straight. And so like I think it's harder to be a really good athlete than it is to be a really good golfer. And I think if you're a really good athlete, you can more easily become a very good golfer.
And don't sell yourself short, because I've been watching some of your stuff on YouTube, and you're a great teacher. I think you taught me something on how to hit out of bunkers that I'd never thought about as well. So it's
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, I think you
I'm more short game than I am full swing, but I appreciate that.
yeah, absolutely. So going back to maybe your childhood and your parents, like when you think back now, being where you're at, you're a professional golfer. This is your first literally couple of months of being a professional golfer, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. When you look back now and you're like, okay, cool, mom, dad, like you did it. You helped me get here. If you could put your finger on maybe a couple things, 1 to 3 things that you're like looking back now, you're like, oh, I can see how what they maybe did in forms of support or
Mhm.
whatever they may have done helped you to get to where you are right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think my freshman year of high school, we moved from Kentucky to Orlando. My dad bought a business out down here that he was doing in Kentucky, so it was kind of like the perfect timing for him and for our family. And I'm sure that was difficult on them, like leaving everything that they've known forever in Kentucky and taking 2 kids that were 15 and 13 at the time to a new place. Even at the time, like I probably wasn't super happy about moving down here, but it was by far like the best thing that probably could have happened to me at that point in time. Because the golf season was short in Kentucky. It was like, 7 or 8 months. So I was playing indoors a lot. And then that was a really, really big deal. I got surrounded by better players, more time to practice. The school system down here was so different. Like I did online school. Um, I think early on in my like golfing career when I first started playing, I in Kentucky, I started playing for the high school team when I was in 4th grade. And
How's
that
that
was like,
possible?
yeah, yeah. So like I was leaving elementary school to go play like matches with the high school team. And I like probably didn't want to do it. Not that I didn't want to do it, but I was probably like very overwhelmed and kind of scared of that. And my dad was just like, just go try out. Like, we don't care what you shoot. Like, if you make the team, that's great. And if you don't make the team, like, you're in 4th grade. There's 8 more years or 12, 10 more years, whatever it is. And so, like, I went out, made the team, and played varsity from 4th grade to senior year of high school. So I have like 8 years of high school golf under my belt by the time I get to college golf. And I think that was another big moment where it was kind of like my parents like didn't push me to play, but they were like supportive of it and they were supportive of the failure that could have came with that. And I thought that was a big moment. And then I think my freshman, I was in 8th grade and I was playing the junior players, and this was like right before we moved to Florida. And it was my first invitational on the AJGA, and I was like young and pretty nervous, and we were playing at TPC Sawgrass, and I was like 3 over through 6, and I looked at my dad. I'm like what a bad start. Like I can't believe this is how it's going. And he's like, dude, you're like not supposed to win this tournament. Like you're in 8th grade. Like I mean, there was like guys that were on the PGA tour, like in the field that were seniors in high school. Like you're not even really supposed to be here. And so I think hearing that from him, like he spent all the money to get us there. Like we stayed in a nice hotel for the week. Like you're in Jacksonville, it's expensive. And he was like, the result is like whatever. Like you're here. That's like the biggest part of the battle. And so I think those three things are what kind of sticks out. And each one was very important in its own right. And I think they're differently important. But I think the overall theme is probably like when parents were supportive of us, we felt it probably more than they thought we felt it. And my brother is the same way. Like he didn't know if he even wanted to play golf until his sophomore year of high school, and he got a full ride to go to Louisville. So like I think the support was a huge thing for us.
So now looking at the other side, obviously you grew up with a lot of kids that were as good, if not better than you, that maybe didn't make it to the level that you're at. What if you look back and you see maybe their environment or from their parents' point of view, and then I like to kind of dive into their own individual mindsets of what makes the best. But what did you see from a support and a parent standpoint that maybe held back kids more than the opposite?
Yeah, and like I mean, those kids, I don't want to say their parents didn't support them because they probably supported them harder than my parents. But I think it's misguided support, right? Like there's a line when the support turns into pressure, and I think that's when it kind of gets dangerous. And a lot of the kids that I saw that happen to in junior golf were only children. That was a lot of it. And I think there was kind of like, you're the one chance I get at this. And like
Mm.
that probably happened a lot. The other one was like the guys that I hung around in junior golf played multiple sports. So there was kind of this like divided pressure among golf and other sports that their parents were dealing with and like helping them through. Um, but I mean, you could definitely tell the kids that were, I don't want to call them overbearing, but they probably were a little overbearing parents where like, it's one thing to, like throw your hands up in the air at your kid after he misses a 2 footer that he didn't mark. But then like when the round's over and we're all having a putting contest on the putting green and you're like, hey, it's time to go. Like we're going home. And it's like, we're obviously having a good time. Like the round's over. We're done. Like let the kid have a little fun. It was a lot of that kind of stuff where it was like subtle micromanaging things. And it's like my dad always told me when he traveled to tournaments with me, like if I played bad, I'd be like, you got to get advice. And he would give me basic things like, I noticed you were missing it right today or something like that. But he was always like, I can't beat you. So like, why would I tell you what to do? Like you're better at golf than I am. So like you have the answers. I don't. And I thought that was kind of freeing in a way where it's like, I don't think he wasn't being supportive. It was just kind of like, hey, you're really good at this. Like you can kind of figure it out. And I saw a lot of parents that like I know for a fact were not very good at golf that had children that were very good at golf that were probably a little too overbearing on them, and now those kids don't even play golf. So like it's a quick slide I think that can happen. And yeah, that's kind of my opinion on it.
I mean, it's a great opinion, and it seems like the theme that I'm hearing is that your parents empowered you, for lack of a better word, to realize that you are better than you actually think that you are, and by putting you into situations where you could multiple ones of your stories where like you didn't need to win because you weren't even supposed to be there, but yet you are there. That must free you up to be like, interesting, like I do belong here and I do have the answers, and I just need to look within.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's spot on.
Huh. Okay, so you played other sports as a kid. You broke your nose in baseball, so then I mean, if you were that good at golf right off the bat? Was it just the fact of like the teamwork and the camaraderie in the other sports that kept you into the other sports? Like looking back now, do you like wish that you would have focused more on golf, or are you glad that you kept all the other sports going as well at the same time? Like, did that take away from focusing on golf, or did that give you the reprieve that you needed to be able to perform well in golf?
No, I mean, I don't think I would have wanted to focus more on golf.
Hmm.
I thought, especially in Kentucky, Kentucky was different because it's cold for 4 months of the year. So like when we were indoors hitting balls and stuff like that didn't interest me. And I think that would have been a great opportunity for me to probably learn to hate golf because I didn't want to be inside. I wanted to be in a gym or on a football field or on a baseball field. And I think that actually probably helped me like golf more in the end was my continuation of these sports throughout high school. I will say once I moved down to Florida and started playing high school sports down here, I went to a Christian school here in Orlando and I did Florida virtual school, which not every state offers that. So I took online classes and was able to play for the high school team. And
Hmm.
I could attend class in person if I wanted to, but I didn't have to. So that kind of freed up my schedule a little more. And like I was able to play a lot of golf and still play those other sports all in one day, which a lot of high schoolers probably don't have that chance to do. But in Florida, that is an opportunity for anyone. So I think that was a big part of it. But even then, like, I mean, basketball is at night, right? Like in the winter, we had practice from 6 to 8. It gets dark at 5:15 here in Orlando. So like there were times when you get out of school at 2:30 and you go straight to the range and you get 3.5 hours at the golf course before you had to go to basketball. And then after that, you do homework and you go to bed. Like I was okay with losing the social aspect of high school in order to play the two sports that I really loved a lot. And I would have played basketball over golf if I was 6'6" and a little skinnier, but I'm not, so I chose golf. And that's just how it ended up. But yeah, I think I loved them both, and in the end, I think it made my golf game probably better.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard that basketball is a key sport to be playing. I mean, you see Scotty Scheffler and he played basketball, and I've talked to a couple coaches that are like just that ability to be able to like place a ball where you're looking. I mean, especially you're saying that your short game is one of your strengths. That makes sense because you're constantly have that touch that basketball requires, and that can be translated into golf. What other sports have you seen translates well into a golf game?
Yeah, I mean, I played a lot of baseball growing up, and everybody always told me like, "Oh, baseball screws up your golf swing," and there might be some truth. I'm sure there is some truth to that, but I always felt baseball kind of got me the closest to where I was trying to be on the golf course. Like I played a bunch of different positions in baseball, and just like the way you have to read the ball on the dirt or in the air or at the plate too. I mean, like the way the ball's curving and like you're seeing it bounce and you're seeing it spin, and you got to figure out how to get it from third base to first base. And I always thought that was a lot like chipping, and I love chipping. Like I could sit on a chipping green for hours at a time, and it's a lot of the same thing where you're reading bounces, you're reading spin. Like if it's right to left here and I spin one left to right, like it takes a straight bounce because they offset. So there's a lot of stuff like that in baseball that I found translated well to golf. And similarly with basketball, like free throws to me were like 4 footers. So I loved shooting free throws. But like, I mean, I played with guys that were actually pretty good at basketball, and like the way they could spin it on the backboard or, go up and under and spin it backwards into the hoop. Like it was a lot of the same things that I saw in golf, where even from 180 yards, like you're reading like, all right, it's 185. I need to land this 181. It's going to bounce 3 yards. It's going to spin a yard and a half right. Like, where does this need to land? And a lot of that, I think, translated well to those two sports, which both round balls.
So then now, like, what was the recruitment process like? I mean, there's going to be kids right now that are they're at that, like, let's just say 13 to 16, kind of 15. They're trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure out now, like a big deal is to play Division One or in any sort of collegiate level golf. What was your experience with that, and what advice would you give to the families and to the juniors themselves that are trying to get a scholarship?
Yeah, so my journey was a lot different than probably other people's. I was the number one player in my class for a long time. So I got offered a full ride to Alabama in like eighth grade. And not just Alabama, like every Power Five school in the nation, basically, they were wanting me to come. And I hadn't even stepped foot in high school yet. So
So when that happens at eighth grade, you get offered that, and if you sign, even if your golf games goes to absolute crap over the remaining years, you still get the full scholarship.
no, so that's kind of why they changed that rule. I don't think you can be contacted until your junior year now by a coach. I believe that's correct. There were a lot of kids growing up like that had committed to schools in sixth grade, and they were great in sixth grade. But by the time they were in 10th grade, they weren't the same player. And a
But
lot
why
of
would you
those,
commit? Like what's the benefit from the athlete's point of view to commit?
yeah, I don't think there was a benefit. I think some of these guys like maybe thought that was as good as they were going to get, like, and they were great schools that they committed to, but it just like the way the rosters fill out, and I mean, like, you can get hurt, you can get injured. I think it was kind of like if they felt like they signed, they had a spot no matter kind of how they played in the future. And I just like don't think that was the truth. And I also don't know like how in on that the coaches were at that time. Like if a sixth grader says he commits to whatever school, like I highly doubt that coach is like, well, the class of 2035 is full now, so like we should stop looking. Like
Right?
I don't think that's happening. So I think it was a little bit of both of like those factors, but yeah, I mean mine was nice. I got to go on a bunch of visits and they changed the rules like I said, but I tried to go as many places as possible. And like with the junior golf schedule that I was playing, a lot of them fit well into like, if you're playing in Oklahoma City, we're going to take a day and go see Oklahoma State or, whatever it was, Dallas, you could go to Austin, like same thing. So we did that a lot. Like I got offered in eighth grade. I didn't commit until the end of my sophomore year of high school, right before I was a junior. So I kind of sat on it a while and like I wanted to make sure every school that wanted to offer me had offered me before I signed. And I don't think that's a luxury that everybody gets, but I did see the recruiting process a lot in junior golf. And I think parents and players, if you're great, you're great. Everybody knows you're great. But if you're really good, you can kind of go under the radar in junior golf. And my advice would be to find the schools that you really want to go to, and then find the schools that, if those schools don't get back to you, you want to go to, and then keep doing that down the line, and just go to their athletic website, click on the golf team, find the head coach or the assistant coach's email, send them like, what am I playing in? This is what I'm shooting. Maybe here's a video of my swing. These are my strengths. These are my weaknesses. This is where I want to be in 5 years, and email those coaches just so you have that contact in the future with that person. And like, I mean, the assistant coaches move all the time. So if you catch an assistant coach's attention at a small D1 program, like they get a big D1 job and maybe you go with them, and that's how it works. But I think a lot of players, and like it can be parents too, they just like they wait for the coaches to reach out to them. And there's a lot of people that play junior golf, like probably more than you think. And there's a lot of those kids that want to play in college as well. So I just don't think the coaches can find everyone. And I think your name goes to the top of the list or near the top of the list if you reach out first. So go to the website, go to the AD's website, go to the whatever it is, athletic department's website, get the email. Don't be afraid to email them multiple times. And yeah, that's how I would do it.
Hey, if you're enjoying The Golf Parent, if these conversations have inspired you or helped you become a better parent to your junior golfer, please hit subscribe. It truly means the world to us and sends a powerful signal that what we're doing matters. And if you're feeling extra generous, leave us a review or follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. Your support helps us grow and continue bringing you incredible guests each week. Thank you. And now back to the episode. If you hadn't been offered the full ride, and you were looking at some of your I guess second tier, third tier school options, would you have entertained the idea of not going to college and just trying to like hit pro right off the bat?
Yeah, no, that wasn't really an option for me. Like I say I got offered a full scholarship in eighth grade. It was probably like, hey, we really want you to come to school here in eighth grade. And then I went back, sophomore year, and they were actually able to offer me. But it was kind of that interest in like, I mean, I probably briefly thought about it when I was a junior or senior in high school and was playing really well, but I really wanted to go to school. And both of my parents went to school like in Bowling Green, Kentucky, where we're from, which I loved Western Kentucky University growing up, but that was kind of all I knew. And I went to a couple of football games at Alabama, and just like the life and the student culture. And I just felt like I was going to miss out on too many things. And I loved our head coach. Like he was he was great all through recruiting and while I was there. So like I wanted to be mentored by him, and we had some great players as well that are now on the PGA Tour that I wanted to be teammates with. So that kind of never slipped my mind. And I was probably pretty critical of the guys who did choose to skip college because I loved college. And I think that kind of shows you that there is no right or wrong path. I think it's probably personal and individual to everybody, but you do have to figure out if you're making the right decision before you make it, or at least trying to figure out if you're making the right decision or not. And like Akshay was my age growing up. So I played with him like every event senior year of high school, basically, or that's what it felt like. And he just won everything. And like it wasn't close. Like he was winning by 6, 7, 8, 9. And so he was like, well, I'm not going to college. I'm like, yeah, dude, like, why would you? Like you're the best player I've ever seen. Get out of here. But there were other guys that were like, well, I might do the Akshay. And I'm like, bro, you need to go to school. Like, you need 4 more years. Like, so I think it's personal. And I think Akshay probably made the right decision. And I think I probably made the right decision. And now we're here.
How much better did your game get through basically your college experience? So forget the culture and like the school atmosphere wise, but specifically for the golf, playing in those higher pressure type tournaments, and I guess the individualized coaching, like did you see a big change in your game over those 4 years?
Yeah, I did. I did. And COVID was my freshman year. So, like, we had a really weird college experience, at least the first part of my college experience. And I came in, I played really well. Like, I finished like eighth in my first event and then like ninth in my second event. And then COVID happened. So they sent us home. And I came back and I was playing horrible, like the worst I've played in a long time. And it was kind of frustrating because I was the 5 man, so I wasn't playing bad enough to be out of the lineup, but I was like not playing good enough to ever really compete. So I was like in this weird perpetual cycle of like, well, we're probably gonna fail today, but we got to go fail in case we somehow do help the team, and that was no fun. Well, I mean, my junior, senior, like into my sophomore, junior, senior year was like some of the best golf I've played ever. So we were able to like, that's the thing about college was I was able to be around people that were like, hey, you know, we don't think you're doing this correct. And it could be like non golf related. Like it could be like, well, your grades aren't doing great, or you're out of shape, or you're eating the wrong thing. And they helped fix that problem. They didn't just tell me it was a problem. They were like, here's what we can do to fix the problem.
Hmm.
So I always had these like people that I could lean on. Like woke up 6 a.m. before workouts. I'm like, I don't feel good. Call my trainer. He picks up. It's like 6:05 in the morning. He's like, be at the doctor in 40 minutes. You go, the doctor's ready to see you. Like little stuff like that that you get out of college and you're like, man, I didn't realize at the time how great that was, but like it's the best. And I think it was probably exaggerated at Alabama, but I do think that's every kind of major D1 program in the country. Is the athletic budgets at most of these places are just so big now, and NIL is helping with that too. But you have so much support around you, like you're not ever on your own. And it's right before you're going to be the most lonely you've ever been in your entire life. So like it's nice to have those 4 years right before you turn into a professional.
I want to get to that, the loneliest you've ever felt and turning professional in a second. But going back to you said in your first couple years that you were the fifth man. For those that don't fully understand college golf, what does that mean? Like what's the benefit of being the first man, fifth man? Obviously, if you're not on the team or you didn't make it that week, you're not playing. But what's a typical structure of a tournament, and why is it important to not be the fifth man?
Yeah. So, I mean, in college golf, you have usually a roster of like 8 to 12 guys. 12 guys would be a very big roster, 8 guys would be pretty small. Um, Usually at a tournament, you take 5 players. So each event, 5 players. Each day, you count the 4 top scores of the day. So by being the fifth man, you're kind of like, we would always do qualifying and like maybe have a couple of coaches picks for the players that shouldn't ever miss a tournament. And you would kind of rank them as like best to worst. At least I think that's kind of what we did. So like your best player would tee off in the one spot. Your I don't want to say worst because no one was bad, but least bad or least good player would tee off in the fifth spot, and 5 would tee off first. So like if we had a morning tee time, the 5 man is out first, the 1 man finishes last, and you just kind of go from there. But I think it always helped, like being the 1 man in my junior, senior year, 1 or 2 men. Like you get paired with better players, so like you're always kind of playing against the 1 man or the 2 man, and like it feels more competitive in the moment. And I always felt like I played better against better competition. So like when I get paired with a 1 man, like sometimes it was Luke Clanton or Michael Thorbjornsen or Carl Phillips or, Nick Dunlap, whatever it was, like you want to beat those guys because you know how good they are. And so now it's like, all right, well, I want to play good, but also like want to beat this guy. And I always thought that helped me out. Um, I don't think you don't really like, don't want to be the 5 man because you're traveling. But for me, like I was used to being the man. Like I always played one in high school. I played really good in my first 2 events in college before COVID. So I was like, there's no reason why I can't, play at the front of the lineup. And I didn't my freshman and sophomore year. And I think that probably made me better. Because you want to get out of the 5 hole. Like 5 man is always like, I don't know if I'm going. I might be going. I have to qualify this week. Like one guy could beat me out. And then you're staying home and you're watching your buddies go on a sick golf trip. So it was just a more stressful place in the lineup to be. Whereas like towards junior or senior year, like you're 1 man, like or 2 man or even 3 man, you're like, I'm getting in the van this week. So like I need to get ready to play.
It sounds like leaving yourself like a stress-free par putt as opposed to like a 6 foot or 8 footer to say par. If you just keep doing that time and time again, it's not nearly as fun. It's just a little tap
Yeah.
in.
Well, and two, like it helped me prepare for tournaments when I was 1 or 2 man because like I didn't have to think to qualifying. Like we were at qualifying, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna try and shoot like 59. Like go at everything because if I miss, like who cares? So like then I'm able to go practice after the round and I'm like, all right, I know I'm going to Sawgrass Country Club next week. I'm gonna hit 15 2 irons, 6 drivers, 8 3 woods, and wedges. And like we're gonna do that for a week. And I don't have to worry about like Shoal Creek on Tuesday at 2:30 in the afternoon.
That makes sense. You said something now going from the transition from playing high level Division 1 golf to now being a professional, and you mentioned the word lonely. What has that adjustment been like? Like what surprised you the most in a both a positive sense, like what's been a pleasant surprise by becoming a professional, and what's been potentially like you could label it as a negative or a something you weren't expecting?
Yeah, I think a positive that is probably also a negative for me is that everybody is good. Like in college, you would tee it up, and if there was 80 players, like if you didn't finish in the top half, you played really bad. At least the level we were at. Like yeah, I felt like if I didn't at least beat half the field, I really struggled that week. And like there were a couple times in Canada where I shot 6 under, six. Like the first week, I shot 2 under, missed a cut for 2 days. Second event, I shot 5 under, missed the cut. Week 3, I shot 6 under, missed the cut, and then made my first cut at 7 under for 36 hole. All of those were 36 hole scores. So it's like you go from shooting 8 under in college for the whole tournament, finishing top 5, to now you shot 7 under and miss a cut. And you're like, what just happened? Like I played good golf. So I think that was a shocking aspect, but it's also good because it means golf's in a great spot and all these guys are really good. So it's a positive and a negative. But I think the negative is probably like I didn't think it was ever going to be glamorous unless you were on the PGA Tour, but we go to some weird places, and not that they're bad places, but you're just like in weird spot. Like we went to Saskatchewan last year, and
I'm sorry to hear that.
well, it's just like in the middle of nowhere. Like
Oh yeah.
it was awesome, and like I heard the place was great, but they were like, we were in the middle of nowhere. Like, we went to the golf course and then we went back home, and it's a lot of that. Like, I mean, Mexico City was crazy. Like Argentina was wild. So you're in these weird places, like weird environments, and then like you're expected to go shoot 10 under, 8 under, 6 under, 4 under if you want to win. And I think it's a lot to juggle if you're not ready for it. And honestly, like I think I handled that pretty well. I just haven't been swinging the club the way I want to. But for other guys, I think the travel really gets to them. Like some of the guys that played the first event in Latin played the first event and never came back. So they had status and they just chose not to play because they didn't want to go down there. So it's stressful. It's a lot. Yeah, and you're alone. There's no more teammates there to pick you up.
And it's up to you to figure out like all your travel accommodations. Like, is that worked out where they're like, okay, Canon, this is where you should stay here in Mexico City. This is we're going to help you with the booking the flights, or is it all on you to figure that all out, or is there a support structure in place?
Yeah, no, I mean it's pretty much all on us. The tour does give us recommendations on their like host hotel, so they'll have a hotel sometimes near the golf course that is they give you a better deal than like a normal rate. So most guys will stay at the host hotels, but as far as like flights go, Ubers and stuff like that, you got to do your own stuff. I have an agent, so like my agent will book that stuff for me, but other guys don't, and they just do it on their own. And there's a lot of guys that like you're in Mexico City and you miss the cut, like you're staying in Mexico City for 2 more days. Like you're not leaving because it's $800 to change that flight, and like guys aren't going to be able to pay that $800 to change the flight. So it's tough, and like playing good takes care of most all of it, but it's hard. It's hard to do.
It's hard to play good. Golf's an unforgiving sport. Talk about the finances for a second, because I'm assuming a lot of people are curious. On average, now obviously some places are going to be more expensive than other places. Saskatchewan's going to be on the lower end. Mexico City probably a little bit more expensive. But for you to play a tournament, is it costing you out of pocket $5,000, $10,000, $2,000 on average each tournament? And then if you make the cut, like, are you cash flow positive, negative? Like, how do the finances balance out usually?
Yeah, so I mean the finances are pretty rough on America's tour. Like it's kind of a developmental tour and you're really out there to just try and get status. But I mean a normal week in Canada, I probably spent between 800 and 2 grand each week. The 800 weeks would be the ones where I didn't get a caddy on Thursday, Friday, and then miss the cut. So all I really paid for was the tournament registration. And
You can carry your own bag. You don't have to have a
on
caddy.
Thursday, Friday, you can carry your own bag. Saturday, Sunday, you have to have a caddy. Um,
Interesting.
Again, I think they did that for like guys couldn't afford to pay caddies for the week. So I think that was a big part of it.
How
Or
do you pick a caddy? Like,
a
it's
lot of the
obviously
time,
not
it'll
your
just,
caddy.
yeah, a lot of the time it'll be like guys that volunteer at the club, or like locals in the town that know golf that volunteer. I mean, I had a couple of kids last year in Canada that were like 12, which was honestly like better than the old guys because they were just excited to be out there.
So excited. Yeah, you can
Yeah,
feed off their enthusiasm.
yeah, it was great. But I also had some really cool guys that were just like, yeah, we're golf fans. Like, we heard this was coming to town. We volunteered, and now I'm here. And like some guys, I had a caddy in Edmonton. I wish I could remember this guy's name, but the weather was horrific. It was like raining and cold, and he was just so happy to be out there. And like, I ended up missing the cut that weekend. He was like, "Don't pay me." Like, I had a blast. Like, just buy me a beer. So I went and bought him a beer, and he was like, "All right, we're good." And like, a lot of cool stories like that from that tour. But I mean, it's expensive, man. Like, you make the cut, you finish 45th, your paycheck's like $2,500, like maybe 3 grand. 60th, like,
Basically breaking even,
yeah,
as you
like
have
if
to
if
make the
you
cut
make
to
the
come
cut
close to
and
breaking even.
finish in the last 20 players, you're losing money on the week, like 100%. I think that
Sorry, say
paycheck,
it again. If you're not one of the top 20
if
players,
you make the cut and finish in like the bottom 20 players after making the cut, you're probably losing money that week. Um, and a lot of guys like will stay together in a hotel or rent an Airbnb, and that makes it a lot cheaper. That's a great way to do it. But some guys like to get their own room, and like I did that last summer in Canada just because I didn't really know like what the vibe of the tour was or who was going to be out there. And I mean, it's like 1,100 to 1,400 bucks a week, and then you miss a cut and you gotta change your flight and fly to the next event. Like, you're out. You're out. You're not making much unless you win, and even then, you're probably making more working at McDonald's for the year.
but you're living your dream.
Yeah,
You're living your dream.
and you get to go
Okay,
to
so
cool places, man. Like,
yeah,
we did go to some really cool places, and I
like
think,
Saskatchewan and Edmonton.
yeah, but I mean, like, more so like Lima and like New Brunswick. I know, like, probably not that popular in Canada, but I thought it was beautiful there.
New Brunswick's beautiful. Yeah, absolutely.
Edmonton was during Game 7 of the Stanley Cup, so like we went to downtown Edmonton. That was sick. Victoria was beautiful. Lima was cool. So yeah, there's definitely perks. Like, it's not all about the money at this stage, and you're kind of just trying to get reps and get some status.
So, what advice would you give from a goal setting point of view, knowing that you obviously can't always control the outcomes of what's going to happen, but you can kind of control the lead ups to it. So, now that you're in the first couple of weeks or first couple of months of being a professional, like what are the goals that you're setting, and what have you learned throughout your career on how to effectively set up goals?
Yeah, I mean, goal setting is tough, right? And it can be different for everybody. I like to set, like one or two goals that are probably not obtainable, but then set up 2 to 4 goals that are very attainable.
Hmm.
And I kind of, like, write them down, keep them close to me at most points of time. And like, when you accomplish them, you check them off. And then as you kind of start checking off the more obtainable goals, you realize maybe the unobtainable goal isn't as unobtainable as I first thought. And I think that's kind of been my thing out on tour. Was like, in college, I was always going into the week trying to win. And now it's like, you're thinking about making the cut. You're thinking about like, what does it cost this week? Who's going to caddy? Like, all this crazy stuff. Where am I on the points list? Like, am I going to keep my card? And I think that kind of got away from me a little bit, where it was like, hey, all of these little obtainable goals, like, you're kind of treating as like they're a scary thing. And like, in the end, like, it's an opportunity. And so like, I think that would be something that I would always try and tell like younger players is like, and something that someone told me not long ago that really resonated with me. And it was like, you don't have to go play these tournaments. Like, no one is forcing you to go play. No one's forcing you to go spend this money. Like, you get to go play these tournaments and you get the opportunity. And like, if you tee up on the first hole, the first day, like, you have a chance to win. And like, that's all you can really ask for. And so I think it kind of changed the way I thought. And I don't know, golf can be a burden sometimes. Like, and if you let it be a burden, I think it only snowballs. And when you're setting your goals, like, my college coach always told us, like, just always dream, like just dream, 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 dream. And I really believe that to be true. Like, because it doesn't always work, like you can't control the outcome of most things. And the more you focus on the outcome, the worse it's probably going to be. And I think dreams are there to kind of be that buffer between like really wanting to do something and having something happen because you put in the hard work and the dedication and the time. And so I would say be realistic, but also be unrealistic and just always continue to dream, man. Don't ever stop dreaming.
I don't know where to go after that because that was so eloquent. That was so perfectly said. That listen, Ken, if people want to follow your journey, if they want to support you, if they want to, learn how to hit out of bunkers and and get some short game tips from you, what's the best way for them to kind of come into your ecosystem?
Yeah, so on X, formerly Twitter, I'm Canon Claycomb, Canon, Claycomb, Claycomb. Same on Instagram, same on TikTok as well. And then I think YouTube the same as well. So shoot me a follow on all those things. If anybody has questions, like feel free to shoot me a DM on any of those. I monitor all of my socials. I like to look at them and I like to answer questions that come through on the DMs. So I've been there, I've done it. It's a stressful process. Like I am so thankful for my parents, and I'm sure that was such a crazy hard journey for them as it was for me. And I really appreciate you having me on, and that was a blast.
Hey, I appreciate you. Now, I'd be remiss if you've got the ears and eyes of golf parents and junior golfers everywhere. What would be one piece of advice that you would maybe give the parents and one piece of advice you'd give to an aspiring junior?
I think it'd probably be to just enjoy the ride, man. Like it only happens once, and there's so many times now where we're sitting in Bogota, Colombia on the PGA Americas tour, and I'm like, hey man, you remember that time we were 14 and we did this at this AJGA? Like the memories are always there, and it's such a fun time. And like I said earlier, my parents were the parents that let me, go to dinner with friends after a round, or have a putting contest with friends after a round, or stay with other players like in a host hotel or host house with, big tournaments on the line. And I think those memories are what I remember more so than what I shot or how I played or what tournament I won. And they're both important. Like you do have to play good golf, and there's a line. But like, I mean, at the end of the day, man, we're kids. Like we were kids, and like I got to enjoy being a kid, and I got to have a crazy childhood. Like anybody that does the junior golf circuit in any facet, like it's crazy. And you travel a lot and you see new places that you'll maybe never go to ever again. So like take pictures, look around, keep your head up, like enjoy the experience and don't take it too serious. Like it's a very serious game. And like one last thing my college coach always told me was like, golf is hard, man. I'll never be mad at you like for playing bad golf. Like if you tried your hardest and you acted the right way, like I'll never be mad at you for hitting a bad shot because the game is just genuinely hard. So I would ask parents to probably remember that the game is very hard. Have some grace, and I think everybody have fun. It's a one-time journey, and you're blessed to be on that journey.
Kenan, you won me over, man. I'm now, I think, your biggest fan. I'll be rooting for you. I'll be watching you. And I know everybody listening and watching is probably going to be doing the same as well. You're a class act, and we wish you nothing but luck. And we'll all be watching with a little bit of pride to be like, okay, we got a little piece of your success because we want you to do very, very well. And you will do well. So thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate it, Ryan. I had a blast.
Thanks for tuning in. As a fellow golf parent, I know how much this journey matters. If this podcast helped you even 1%, please consider following and reviewing it. It's the #1 way to grow the community and keep bringing you elite insights week after week. And while you're here, check out the show description for exclusive discounts from our sponsors, handpicked to help your junior golfer train smarter and play better.